Here's my motto with the whole thing. Right? When I walk into the building, I walk in there knowing that I can't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Because they're not gonna interview me. They're gonna go to my son and say, your dad was out there wilding. No, for real. And the one thing I will never do is have my son put in a situation where he gotta answer a question that pertains to me, because it makes me look bad as a dad that I can't sit there and represent him. So I will sit there and cheer on. I don't care if he throws the ball into the 25th row. Great, that's all right, keep going, right? Because there's no reason for me to make a comment on nothing, because he wouldn't come to my job and embarrass me. So I will not sit there and embarrass him.
Welcome back to LeagueBiz. I'm your host, Dennis Boateng, and today we have some amazing guests. We have some fathers. We have Karl and we have Charles here with us today at LeagueBiz, and we're gonna have such a dope conversation that needs to be had, which is around fatherhood, but also in the business of basketball, because you guys are around it, you're in it, you raise the guys that play in it. So, Karl.
Yes.
You're a dad. Your boy plays in the NBA. What has that journey been like for you?
The journey for me has been like all positive. I mean, nobody ever thinks when they're young that their kid is gonna make it to the NBA. That was never my dream. My dream was always for my kid to just get an education. Karl was in a school, he was maintaining a 4.2 grade point average. And his junior year of high school, he just said high school was born, that he wanted to leave and move on to other things. So we let him take classes his senior and junior year together. And he ended up doing 50 credits in the 1 year, graduating, headed to Kentucky, had a great year. They lost one game. We all know that story, but we'll let it go. And basically, it's just been a positive thing. Drafted in 2015, #1 pick in the NBA draft, and has been doing very well for the last 8 years. You know, as everybody knows, my story is, you know, I'm the sole supporter now. You know, unfortunately, in 2020, my wife died from COVID. And, you know, it affected us in a way, but I was always say to people, she wanted us to go on. So to me, the journey's been successful. He's doing well. I mean, we're doing good in Minnesota. And, you know, like I tell everybody, it's not about basketball with me. It's about his education. I mean, he still goes to school. He wants to be a doctor when basketball's over. And that's something people don't know, that there's so much people don't know about these athletes. They just think that they dribble the ball, put baskets in, play the game, but they don't until outside the game. They're doing stuff for their future. My son is always thinking down the road. Basketball's gonna end. So he wants to do the things that he always promised he'd do, become a doctor, open a hospital in the Dominican Republic for his mother. There's a lot of things that I know he does behind the scenes that he don't tell me. You know, because he's at 27, you know, to him, you know, they're doing things that they don't think their parents know. At least I shouldn't know. But I know deep down inside, he's doing a lot of stuff to keep his mom's, you know, image going. He built the floor for her at Keene University in New Jersey, so people got in honor of her. So, I mean, it's just the little things. People see basketball as just a game, but basketball is just not about the game. It's about what you do down the road that people are going to remember you by. In terms of my son, I don't even, you know, Karl is the basketball, but I'm just going to throw this in there. I know we're doing my basketball, but when I talk about my kids, I don't want people to understand that I have other successful kids. I have a son who works for Disney. I have a daughter who is an executive, and then I have my other daughter who's a neurosurgeon. So I'm, you know, in terms of all my kids, they're doing well. But in terms of basketball, I think Karl's showing everybody that, you know, what God gave him, he's used to his ability. So I feel good about where he's at right now.
No, that was perfect. I'm taking notes right now. Like literally, Charles, your son has been in the league for a while. He's a mentor to other young players too now, but I'm sure that mentorship has to come from somewhere for him. So how do you interact with your son? Of course, he's still your son. He's still your baby. But how are those conversations now?
Well, he's mama's baby. I'm the daddy. You know, so I always say if the boys ain't spoiled by their mamas, then all of them ought to be mama's boys.
Yeah.
But they used to get the rod from dad, so.
Yeah.
It's been positive. You know, I introduced basketball to Chris when he was young because he has an older brother. So it was introduced to CJ first, then Chris. Then I introduced both of them to football. So both of them played football and basketball. At one point, we was playing football, basketball, and baseball. So me and the mama working, so I'm like, y'all got to choose 2 sports. Both of them chose basketball and football. CJ probably should have chose baseball because he was good in baseball. But man, it was they had a lot of choices, and then some of the choices they didn't have. Me and the mama made it for them. But we always made it fair where if the choices they didn't make, then we was there to help them make choices.
That's right.
But like I say, basketball, man, Chris started when he was 5 and CJ was 7. So the first time that they played organized ball, it was at a recreation center on the east side where I grew up, called it East Winston. That's where Josh Howard was from. And it was considered to be the rough side, but not for me, you know, not growing up in that area. But they used to play basketball and football all over the city. So my wife was from the south side, I was from the east side, and we knew we had cousins in the south side and the north side. So they was everywhere, so everybody knew them. So the guy, tell you this one story, the guy that actually built Chris' house, we played ball against each other, you know, in leagues and stuff.
Wow.
And one day I seen him out and he said, hey man, I don't know which one, but whichever one of your sons make it, I want to build a house. And I told him, I said, I didn't even know you built houses. And that came true.
Yeah.
So when Chris decided to build his house in North Carolina, Johnny, the guy that I play basketball, built his house, and his wife worked with my wife.
Yeah.
So it's strange how things come around. But Chris, if Chris tell you, he'd tell you we made him go to church. He said he was in church. We was in church on Sundays from sun up to sundown, which we was sometimes because church was in town and we lived out on the west side.
Yeah.
But him and CJ both, they grew a love for basketball.
Yeah.
Chris was always CJ's little brother until Chris got better than CJ.
Yeah.
Then it's, oh wow, this CJ's little brother is really good. And so, but I never went into basketball thinking that either one of my kids was gonna be a pro player.
Yeah.
I went into it that they could take basketball and, like Karl said, go to college.
Yes.
Education was so important then, and it's important now. As you know, Chris just graduated from Winston State. He started out at Wake. So we got great relationships in the city with both of those colleges. But at the same point in time, CJ went to school and graduated college when the year CJ decided to come out. So like Karl say, you know your kids, you want all of them to do better. But him and Chris had CJ and Chris had a relationship better than me and his mom had with them because they were so close.
Yeah.
Chris always tell the story when CJ went off to college, he said that was the worst time of his life because his brother was gone. Because then he had to find new friends, and then he didn't have nobody in the house with him that he could communicate with. So Chris was a scary person. He was tough, but he was scary. He wouldn't come home until me and his mama came home. He'd call us, where y'all at? I'm like, we over Granny's house. Okay, let us know when you come home. He'll go over one of his friends' house and stay there until we was coming home. But he was good in football. A lot of people didn't know Chris was good in basketball unless you was on the AAU circuit. So everybody was really surprised, like, man, this kid good in basketball too? The other funny story is I had a basketball goal court built in the back of the house. Wasn't nothing back there but just dirt and trees. So Chris's football coach like, what you gonna build a basketball court for? Chris is gonna play football. I'm like, Ron, you have no idea. So his football coach is the one that had a concrete business and built the court in the back of the yard.
Wow.
And Ron tell me this day, he said, you knew this. I said, I didn't know it like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, basketball has been great. I didn't play on a high level basketball, but before them boys was born, when I moved to my house, first thing I put on my house was a basketball goal. My wife couldn't stand it because all she heard was a basketball hitting the house. So I love basketball. I love bowling. So my sons learned basketball and they love bowling because that's what we did as a family.
Yeah.
But man, to be on this stage like Karl say, man, to meet other fathers like Karl to feel the same way I do, I'm me. My son is Chris, is the NBA basketball player millionaire. I'm Charles Paul, Chris's daddy. I'm not the millionaire.
Yeah.
And everybody say, well, it's your child. Yeah, that's my child, but that's my son. He got a family of his own now.
Exactly.
Yeah. But Karl, can you speak to that, you know?
Oh, absolutely. I piggyback on what Charles said. It really hurts when people just look at us one way And like he said, my son, Karl Towns, is rich.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, I don't need Karl Towns' money because the love that I give to my kids and the love I give from God up above is all I need. I worked all my life so my kids could be successful. Me and my wife gave everything we could to our kids because the reward is what we're seeing now. Money don't mean much if you don't get the reward from it. I got the reward from seeing all my kids go to college, working, successful. I sit back and I wonder if we would have never been as stern as we was and demanded certain things out of them, would they turn out the same way they were? So when it comes to the money part, yeah, they're set. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we picked up the phone and asked, we needed something to be there. But I made sure when I retired that I was set. Me and my wife were gonna be good regardless. And like Charles said, at any day, your kids could just say, they're gonna have a family. You gotta have your own set ways and establish your own guidelines and career for yourself because here's why I look at it. When your kids set up and get married, they're retiring into their own we're retired.
Yeah.
Because now they're gonna take care of their families. So now we can sit back and say we did our job. Listen, I thank God every day that I can get up every day and do the things I do. Come in here, going this morning, doing other things, because that's the reward.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to worry about my kids. My kids are good.
Yes.
My daughter, they're sad, they're doing their thing. But the one thing I need people to understand is I'm dad and mom now. I lost my wife, so I gotta be two ways. I gotta be there for all my kids. I'm there for Karl 24/7, but I'm there for all my kids 24/7. My phone is always open. So people have to understand something. You can't use basketball just for one entity. Basketball is a partnership and a love of your family. And I love my kids entirely. I love everything about what I do, and I'm gonna continue to do it. I'm gonna continue to help others, but still know that support my kids. So like Charles said, you gotta just look at it from an aspect here. What's more important? You know what's more important to me? I'd rather be less money and see the success of my kids. Because if I have all the money, I may neglect what's important, and this is my kids.
Wow. That was very profound. And I wanna also ask you, you spoke about family. Obviously you guys have a very close-knit family. We seen you and Karl's mom at games and rooting on for him and everything, even ready to fight for him.
Hey, I was ready to bail her out. She was bad.
You know, let's talk about Karl's mother. You know, he lost a mother, but he also lost a wife.
Exactly.
What was it like? How are you guys doing?
You know, it's amazing because I cried on that one this morning, right? People don't get it.
Yeah.
You know, when you're with somebody for 27 years and something new happens, I'm gonna say in society, you know, if they thought that she had a cold and they thought she had the flu, well, you know, she was sick and I wasn't feeling bad. I was feeling bad, but she was getting sicker. And you know, I took her to the hospital, and then that's when I found out about the word COVID. And I said, what is COVID? They said it's some new thing that's affecting America. And they said that, you know, she's going through it. And the saddest part I tell people is that they called me up on a Sunday and said, during the day, and said, she's good. She's gonna be good. She's gonna get out. We're gonna take her off the medicine. She's gonna be good. And then I'll remember the hour. At 6 o'clock that next day, they told me she was gone. And I said, what do you mean by gone? You know, because you don't wake up for somebody telling you that someone's gone.
Yeah.
They said, well, you know, something happened during the night and we lost her. The emotions that you could, you know what, I get emotional now. You can't describe the feeling of losing someone in a matter of hours, but that wasn't what was hurting me. It was the fact now I got to get on the phone and call my kids.
Yeah.
I got to call and I called Karl first because his mother was everything.
Yeah.
He just hung up on me.
Yeah.
He didn't even want to hear it. He said, I got to make some phone calls because he didn't believe what I was saying.
Yeah.
And you know, when reality hit, it hit hard because you have to understand something. I can sit here and tell you, I can't even describe, unless you lose someone, and I know everyone's lost someone, but to lose someone that Every day, I tell somebody, you know what the worst feeling was? Opening my front door and hearing no noise. No, how you doing? How was your day?
Yeah.
And it was a continuous effect.
Yeah.
Because I want to cry now, but I don't want to cry because she wouldn't want me to cry no more because it's been like 3 years going on. Next month will be 3 years. So she just wants us to go on. But I tell people all the time, people said, you know, unless you lose somebody to COVID, I can't really describe what it's like.
Yes.
Because it's something that you can't fight. And she was one of the early beginning ones. You know, they got the vaccines and stuff. And I tell people, oh, you know what? You should be thankful you got through. Because when she had it, there was nothing you could do.
Nothing.
And I remember so many nights I just turned on TV and hearing about people just getting piled up from COVID. They didn't know what to do. See, people don't understand how good it is now compared to 2 years ago, 3 years ago. 3 years ago was probably one of the worst experiences I've ever dealt with.
Yeah.
And I wasn't just talking just for me. I'm talking for everybody who was losing people because nobody knew how to stop what was happening.
Yes.
So I try to stay away from the, you know, I don't mind you asking because you know,
of course.
But when it comes, it just, I'm trying to get to the point you'll understand this. And I talked to Charles about it, where I don't have to have somebody ask me the question.
Yeah.
But you know what I have to realize? They're gonna always ask me the question.
Yeah.
So that's what I get myself more strength on because I know every year around this time, it's just that her mother, her relatives, they're gonna celebrate her loss. So I'm always gonna be subject to this subject.
Yeah.
So I gotta get myself mentally strong.
Yeah.
And I think that as the years go on, it don't get better, I just get stronger.
That's good.
Right?
That's really good.
And that's where I gotta stay.
Yeah. And I think too, with a mother and a father being such strong fixtures in these athletes' lives, it's tough to even see something like that happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You guys both have boys who are not just regular, you know, guys on the court. They're like at the top, like where it don't matter what face of the planet Earth they go to, like somebody knows who they are, what they do. So definitely your strength is very admirable, and I appreciate you answering that question.
No problem. I appreciate you asking. I just want more people to be aware that appreciate what's here now because it'll be gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's why I say money is great, but the love and support of God goes farther.
Yes.
Because I know every day I can pray for forgiveness. I can pray for the strength. And as long as I know that I got someone on my side that's going to keep me strong, I can keep going. Because quitting ain't part of my DNA. Because I want to be here to succeed for my kids, for others. And being here today, going to the prison, doing little things is a way for me to give back to the people that need to hear hear what we have to say.
Yes.
Because a lot of people are being denied the right to learn from us. And we don't want to just say in terms of basketball, life skills.
Yeah.
Because when I talk to most people, I talk to people that the biggest test, and before you move on, I know that my mental health was on the line then. Because I could have folded when she died. Because I'm going to tell you the truth, I was mentally not there.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I could meet the challenge of losing someone. But I used my mental health and the inner strength and the word of God to prosper through it. And to this day, I know that I'm mentally strong enough because I'm answering the question here on a live show. And I'm going to tell you something. This is the first time I've ever answered the question live.
Wow.
Because I'm going to tell you the truth. And out of respect for the organization, for the Father and Men, and Chris Jones, I'm going to say it. I usually don't do interviews live.
And we appreciate you for this.
No, I'm going to be honest. You ain't never seen me do no live interview?
Not that I know of.
I ain't never seen it. This may be the last one. You better take it.
No, I'm very appreciative. I mean, this means a lot to me to have two fathers here sitting down with me because I'm a father too. You know, I have a son who's 3 years old. I have a baby girl on the way as well. So it's just beautiful to be able to sit down with you guys and glean as much as I can. Because I think a lot of times people are on the outside and they see you, they see your kids, and they have an idea of what it's like to be a father to, being in that space. But I want you guys to really share what it's really like,
Man.
and to see the truth. Like it's not what you think it is.
Right.
You know, they might be in the business. I'm in the business too, though. I have a life as well.
Mm-hmm.
Can we speak to that? What is you guys' life like?
Man, life is great, and it's like what you make it. But me and Karl from old school, you know, you got to just put fatherhood out there. Take basketball, football, and any of the other stuff that comes after, because fatherhood comes before any of that.
Yes.
You see your child born, you watch your child struggle, you watch your child blossom since they was a kid. So fatherhood, I believe the whole nation just need to take a whole nother look at what fatherhood is. And you know, we hear about all the bad stories about all the kids that make it come from a broken home. You know, they come from homes without a father. That's far from the truth. Yeah, it might have been back in the day a lot more than now, but now some parents in for the right reason, some parents in for the wrong reason. But at the end of the day, it's about character. And like I say, we grew up in the church, so you know, my parents always told me, you know, we used to study the Bible, learn about love, learn about God. And you know, you can make your own decision this day and time because everybody into everything and people find out different stuff about history and all that stuff. But still, you got a choice.
Yeah.
Like, just like being a father, me and Karl, we had a choice to be in our kids' life. I've been married 40 years, going on 41 years. I got married when I was young, 21 years old. But I chose my spouse. I chose the mother of my kids. You know, I could have been somebody that had sex with a woman and then she had a kid by me. I'm like, wow, that ain't my plan. But still, you chose.
That's right.
That kid didn't choose. So you know, I'm a product of that. You know, my mama and my dad broke up when I was 5 years old, and I still got memories. But like Karl say, they memories. My mom remarried. It's my stepdad, but he's not my stepdad because he raised me and my brothers like his own to this day. Him and my mom been married almost 60 years.
Wow.
So I give him plenty of respect. So, you know, and I still respect my dad that's still here. But you got to give honor where honor is due. The Bible tells you to give honor where honor is due. Some people don't deserve honor, but we give it to them. You know, you got to earn it from me.
Yeah.
You know, you ain't just gonna walk up and say, "Hey, man, your son is a great basketball player." And you know, can I get a signed jersey? Can I get a pair of shoes?
Yeah.
Man, you know how many people would come up to me and say that?
Wow.
No, I get joy out of knowing when people talk about my oldest son, what he's doing behind the scenes, and what Chris is doing off the basketball court. Because I know what he's supposed to do on the basketball court, and he has good days and bad days. But I want to be there for the bad days because everybody's there for the good days. But being his mama, if he have bad days and he can't talk to nobody else, he can talk to me. And it ain't got to be about basketball.
That's right.
It can be about how you feel, what you're doing. You know, he's vegan now. He trying to, you know, I told Karl now that we of this age, now our kids trying to raise us. So, you know, we try to listen. And I tell you, they have given me some good stuff.
How's your
advice.
your vegan journey going?
Oh, it ain't there, but it ain't there, but I'm a work in process.
Yeah.
But he did make me, he didn't make me. I don't do dairy. I haven't had red meat and fried foods every now and then. But in 3 years, I haven't had no red meat, no dairy. And I eat all vegan when I'm at his house. But I pick and choose what I do, but I feel a difference. You know, so my kids teach me, and CJ's vegan. So like I told you, they like that. So if he was gonna be vegan, CJ had to be vegan. Yeah. But our families ain't vegan, so.
How is Karl inspiring you off the court stuff? Like,
well, you know what? My son is keto.
Yeah.
Karl's a keto king. I mean, everything in the house say keto. I bring the doorbell, gonna read it, gonna say keto. I'm telling you.
Man.
No, he inspires me because you know what? His strength after his mother's passing has just kept him going. He's not stopped doing what he's doing. He studies his art. He's just an inspiration to me because you know what? I know that every day, no matter what he's doing, he always calls to check on me. Yeah. He could be doing a million things, but I always get that one call, say, Dad, I was just riding to make sure you're good. You need anything? No, I'm good. All right, well, you know where I'm at. And that's all it is. You know what? It's just the support because you know what? he knows, even though I'm good, the fact that he still wants to make sure I'm good, you know, and that's what means. And it's just on him. It's all my kids.
Yeah.
They, you know, I found a nice young lady. You know, I'm moving on in life, but the calls I get from them are inspirational because you know what? In their heart, I'm still dad.
Yes.
Yep. And they're always gonna need their dad. So that's my daughter, because I'll tell her. She wants me to pick up the grandkids like every day. I mean, you know. But that's what Karl does. Karl gives me the strength because as long as I know he's strong, then it makes me feel good. And I'm gonna tell you something. There's not a day that he doesn't show the strength because he's out doing everything that she would want him to do.
Yeah.
Continue to move forward. Don't let nothing pull you back. So I use Karl as an inspiration for myself because his strength gives me strength. And that means that every day when I walk outside, I know he's good, I'm good.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Dennis Boateng from LeagueBiz in partnership with DraftKings, who can show you how to handle your sports betting biz and get in on the action right now. New customers who bet just $5 on any wager will get $150 bonus bets instantly. Well, how do I get started, you ask? Simple. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use promo code BIZ. You can use that $150 in bonus bets on DraftKings same game parlays for an opportunity at an even bigger payout. And here's the cool part. You can combine multiple bets together from total points scored and other stats from your favorite player. And if you're already in the know with DraftKings, then that's all good because all customers can get a no sweat same game parlay or same game parlay extra. Get your bonus bet back if your bet doesn't hit. Max rewards limits do apply. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. New customers use promo code BIZ. Bet just $5 on any wager and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code BIZ only at DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm your guy, Dennis Boateng. Peace.
I want to ask you guys about challenges in fatherhood, raising your sons, raising your daughters as well. What are some of the challenges that you did face and what did you do to overcome those?
Some of the challenges that Chris and CJ had were that I expected a lot of them. And back in the day, you know, they used to get whoopings. So if CJ seen Chris get a whooping, then he'd know what his was gonna be like. So, you know, we never, Chris asked me a question one day and said, Dad, would you raise my kids the way you raised me? And immediately I said, no. I said, it's a different time and era. I said, we used to talk to y'all and then we used to whoop them with a belt, but nothing strenuous, but he would say it was extreme. But now looking back, I told him, you know, the Bible says spread a rod, sport a child. And we wasn't trying to beat them to beat out of them what they done. We were just trying to show them some discipline. But no, I wouldn't discipline now today the way I discipline them. And I get that. And I can admit to that. And the other part of fatherhood is now I'm a granddad. So now I try to be that mediator between my sons and their kids. But I always tell the kids, I'm not your daddy. That's your daddy. I'm your grandfather. So I'm not gonna intervene. I might talk to Chris or CJ on the side like, hey, just lighten up just a little bit. But I'm never gonna tell them how to parent their own kids. But me and Granny there, Nana, she calls, we there for them, just like we was there for them. So I would expect them to do the same thing, because they ain't gonna catch me putting no hands on my grandkids. But I do give them a stern look and a stern talk to. But a lot of these kids don't have what we had. You know, we still got family. Everybody always say when we go home, they say, man, I can't believe y'all still the same person. Who else I supposed to be? Who else I supposed to be? I'm Charles Paul. My son just so happens to be an NBA player. But when I go home and everybody like, y'all still live here, where am I to go? This is home for me. They have moved on. They have got to raise their families, their sons and their daughters. Both of them have one of each. They always say, God only made a female and a male. I said, okay, let's go with that. And then, you know, with the world that their kids in now, they got a whole lot of other stuff to, you know, come up against. So, you know, being a father now as opposed to when they was growing up, it was a whole lot more simpler. Now, you got to come politically correct with everything you do besides eating. So, you know, they like I say, they instructed me on things things that, back in our day was acceptable ain't acceptable no more. So I've learned to adjust and go with it. But still, being that dad, man, it's one of the most important things in life. I cannot imagine me seeing my child born and me walking away from him.
Yeah.
Male or female. I could not see me walking away from my child the way some of these men have. And then how some of them try to come back in their life once they get the money. Man, that's the ultimate. But, different people have different things to deal with. But I just thank God that mine didn't have to deal with that because, I've always been there. When Chris came out of college his second year, we got bad mail. And I still got some, my wife called me a hoarder because I still got junk mail that we got talking about, Chris, and the family said that he didn't have to go pro. That was his choice. The first year, when they said he'd go pro, I said, oh no, he ain't going nowhere. Me and my wife looked, no, he ain't going nowhere. After he got faced Jameer Nelson in college, he knew he wasn't ready. We knew he wasn't ready. So we wasn't going to just throw him in there for the money.
Yeah.
Now that you got this IL money and all this stuff, we're going to start to see a lot of kids that was up here come way down here.
Wow.
And everybody say, well, they deserve the money and they need to get it. But it ain't deserve, it's how you get it to them. Because it's going to have an effect on the parents. Because now you talking about kids that's 17 years old, got $1 million to do what with? They probably got a car or whatever. I understand the stuff about helping your family and buying them something. But you could mess your whole journey up to the next level with the money if you're not handling it right. Or if it started being a parent versus a kid. I can't imagine Chris tell me, Dad, I need you to go to the bank, give me $500,000 out to go get me a car, some Gucci shoes, about 10 pair of Nike shoes.
Yeah.
I can't imagine him telling me that. And I say, boy, you ain't doing that. And he say, that's my money. Oh man, it's gonna be a fight on up in the house. So, it's a lot for these kids out there, and it's a lot against them, but you gotta have the right people around you.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's your guy, Dennis Boateng, host of LeagueBiz. Today, I'm here in partnership with DraftKings. DraftKings is where a lot of great things happen, especially when you tap into the sports book, right? If you've been paying attention to the basketball season, when we look at our schedule on December 30th, there's going to be some dope matchups. So we have Miami versus Utah, Toronto versus Detroit, LA versus Minnesota, Dallas versus Golden State, Philly versus Chicago, New York versus Indiana. So today I want to break down a little bit of what I think is going to happen in these games and just kind of make my picks when it comes to these matchups. Let's look at Miami and Utah. We cannot deny Miami. They are a mean team. They are very aggressive. They have a great coach. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of history there, even in the front office. When you got guys who are seasoned, who have coached some of the GOATs, the winning mentality is there. So they're above 500 and they haven't been the most efficient when it comes to the 3-point line. I believe they're shooting like 38% from the 3-point line, but I'm not really worried about Miami when it comes to Utah. No knock to Utah or anything like that. I think they're a pretty cool team, but they haven't been performing the best. I'm not worried about Miami. I think they'll pull the win. Now let's move on. Let's talk about Toronto and Detroit. I'm going to cut to the chase. We got to figure out what's going on in Detroit, okay? They're very talented. They got an explosive group, but the record isn't communicating that to the rest of these fans that they probably have too. The record is not showing us what Detroit is capable of. I don't think that teams are going in thinking like, oh my gosh, we have to be on our A game for Detroit. I don't think that that's the case. So I think Toronto is going to pull this win. And look, same thing with Toronto. We know Toronto to be a tough team. They've been a tough team, being able to pull wins. I feel like they're a very disciplined team, but I also will say this too. Detroit's just been losing right off the top. Toronto's actually putting in the effort. They still have enough time to change the trajectory of their season. And I'm not worried about Detroit. I don't think Toronto will lose any sleep over playing Detroit. I think they'll be fine. They'll get that dub and they'll be just fine. Now let's talk about New York versus Indiana. You remember when, you had these greats playing for Indiana, you had these greats playing for New York, and you had spectators and people sitting courtside, and the famous choke. Like, I just want this rivalry back, okay? That's the type of energy that I'm on, okay? That's what I want back. The reason why I want this is because they are both very talented teams. Forget what you think. I'm telling you what I think. These teams are hella talented, okay? They are super talented, in my opinion. You got guys who work hard, especially, let's just talk about New York here, all right? They are not scared to put the ball in the net and then get right back on defense. They really about their business. Like, I feel like they really have that grit. They really been pushing this season. I'm just happy to see what they've been doing. They have great chemistry. You see it on the floor. I think that, people tried to, put some of the players against the organization and all that, but that doesn't matter because at the end of the day, these guys love the hoop. All right. They love to win and they love to stick up for one another. Maybe I might sound biased here. You know what I mean? I may sound a little biased, but here's the thing. I just think that New York's season is looking up. I think that they're going to take it to the next level. Let's talk about Indiana. They're dangerous. Okay, they're very dangerous when it comes to this offense, right? So they're being led by arguably the best point guard in the league right now. The team is putting up crazy points, man. If you don't believe me, go check the stats. And I don't know, they might be bringing some change to the league, but it's great that they're doing that. But the thing that they're lacking is what happens after they score, which is getting back on defense, It's low-key non-existent right now. I think that's where New York could really capitalize and take advantage of Indiana. But both of these teams are great. I think that New York is going to win. Okay, I think that New York is going to really pull this off. Now, those are my picks for December 30th. You go to DraftKings Sportsbook, and when you get there, you use code BIZ. And that is how you can tap in, make your picks. This has been fun. I enjoyed having this segment with you guys to talk about my picks when it comes to these amazing games and these amazing teams. And we're here in partnership with DraftKings. So DraftKings, thank y'all so much. And you guys, make sure you tap in. All right, peace.
What were some of the challenges when they were coming up?
It's gonna get you here. I ain't had no challenges. And the reason that people say, what do you mean? Because I worked all the time. My wife was in charge. Yeah. By the time I got home, it was a smooth sail.
She set them straight.
Handled it. Yeah. Listen, the one thing she was a disciplinarian. And listen, she had me nervous. No, because you know what? She was of Dominican, and you know what? She was very stern, but she knew how to handle the kids because she didn't believe in all that yelling and stuff. She would discipline them in a way that they would understand. And I was working all the time. I had kids in going to Catholic school. So I was always at work. I come in, transition from one to another. So by the time I got to the discipline part, I come in and she'd say, well, this is what happened at the house. I said, so what did you do? She said, I handled it. And that's it. That was the end of the conversation. Yeah. Because, listen, she handled it. Because you know what? She was a stern believer that if I'm gonna do all the outside stuff, she handled the household stuff. So that's why we worked, because I could come in every day and it was peaceful. And the respect that, I already had the respect of my kids, but the respect that she garnered was at another level. Because I used to tell people, she runs the house. I had no problem saying my wife runs the house.
You ain't run around the house, huh? You ain't run around the house.
I ain't run, listen, I ain't do nothing. Listen, whatever she said was right. Yeah. And I didn't have a problem with that because you know what? All my kids turned out right. Yeah. Because the discipline was at a level that she understood. They knew exactly what she demanded. I could say, well, we need to do this. She said, by the time you get home, it'll be done. And it was. And I think that's what it was. I mean, I would have the talks with Karl, like the father, son, stuff like Charles said, you pull him to the side and say, you can't be doing that. Yeah. Come on now. But when you talk to your daughters, you gotta be a little bit more like, your mother talk to you. I'm good. Yeah. Because you have to have a bond. Man, me and Karl's bond, he's my best friend. Yeah. Because he's the one person out of my boys that I can turn to every day. Because he keeps it real. If I say something crazy, I say, that ain't true, whatever. But it's okay, because you know what? I like that in between, because when it comes to all my kids, the one thing my kids will tell you is, if something happens, just get right to the facts. I don't like the peanut butter and jelly stuff. Don't go around the corner and bring me back to the street.
Yeah.
Just tell me what's up so we can move out to it. Because when you start hitting me with the peanut butter and jelly, I'm not spreading the news. Just let me know what is going on. And that's the way I was. I'm straightforward. I don't sugarcoat nothing, and I ain't trying to be your friend, I'm your dad. So just be honest with me, and then if it's something I need to talk to your mama, I'm gonna do it. But most of the time, it was good. I mean, I can honestly say we had a good marriage.
Yeah.
And the challenges, some of the challenges when they was coming up was, you know, they used to get all the stuff cut in their hair. So, you know, they went to the same barber I went to, and they tell I drop them off because it was so crowded. Come back and get them, and they have something cut in the head. I'm like, hey, where you get that from? So the barber said, he told me to cut it in there. I'm like, hey, we ain't having no more of that.
Yeah.
I said, everybody know who you are. You don't need your name cut. But I did compromise and let them get, back in the day, they had the rat tail. So that's one of the challenges I had with them having the rat tail. And then back when they were starting to get teenagers, the sagging of the pants came in. I'm like, oh, that ain't happening.
Yeah.
If anything else, that's not happening. I'm not gonna walk around and see you behind. And I know, you know, that was popular and it's still popular today. But it to me, the stuff that your mama see, I don't want her to see from nobody else. So I definitely don't want them to see it from you. And the language that if you're gonna respect elders and adults. And I think that went way beyond now this day and time. Older people, I read about older people getting beat up and getting robbed. Man, that's unheard of.
Yeah.
Unheard of back in our day.
Yeah.
Kind of activity and that kind of a human being.
Yeah.
We ain't even talking about race. We talking about a human being. These people are doing this to other people that's like us.
Yeah.
Just like everybody in this room.
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
Yeah. And just like you guys are saying, I mean, it starts at home. You know, the absence or the presence of
A father.
Of a father. Even sometimes there are fathers in the home who are physically present, but mentally they're just not there. You know what I mean? So I think that's another problem too that happens with, and that's why some of these young men or young women can be lost as well. Right. But you guys have done a great job. I want to ask you, what are some of the things that you're most proud of your kids, that your kids have done?
That they turned out to be good kids, education-wise, society-wise, and they stay away from the nonsense. That's all I ask. They have all set their own path and they stayed the course, and that's all I appreciate too. I appreciate that every time I get up in the morning, I ain't getting no phone calls and nothing is out of place, and everyone's just following the course and they staying on the guidelines that their mother set for them. And that's all that matters to me, because like I said every day, they're a reflection of their parents, and they've never done anything, knock on wood, to embarrass us. So I'm good. I'm good every day.
That's good. Charles?
I'm proud of the men that they have become. They were my boys, and now they're men. They choosing right friends that I'm proud to say that they call friends, because that's hard to come by this day and time, especially on the panel that Chris and CJ are, everybody coming at them. When we first decided, CJ was a graduate of college and he had a chance to go into coaching basketball. So we didn't tell him, we asked him, do you want to try this thing with your brother, or do you want to go on and finish basketball? He chose to help his brother. So the decision that he made, and just overall, the people like Chris, the people that they come across with, you know, I'm pretty much like Karl, and they just surround themselves about good people that's doing great things. You know, HBCUs, The women's basketball game, we all know it's elevating.
Yeah.
And just about helping other people.
Yeah.
And, doing stuff in the community where they play, doing stuff at home. Me and my wife still do a lot of stuff at home because Chris is not there.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when we doing stuff at home, they like, so is Chris gonna be here? No, you won't be seeing him today.
Yeah.
So it's just watching the men they become.
Yeah. Does it get annoying ever when you just get people just constantly coming like asking about your sons or trying to get something from your son or whatever? Like, how do you handle that? I mean, I ain't got no kid in the NBA, so how do you guys handle that or deflect or just, do you ever have a moment where you just want to tell them like, yo, get out my face?
It doesn't bother me because it's part of, it's just part of it's something you got to deal with because of the status your son is at. And it's rewarding because it makes me feel good to see that people acknowledge the success of my child. Because every time somebody asks you for something, that means they want to be a part of something. So when they come up and ask me, I say, no.
That's good. I like the way you did it. You give them a little hope and then shoot them down.
I let them hope though.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's rewarding because it just shows that people respect what they do. And the majority of the time, people don't ask me for what their biggest thing is? They want Karl's shoes or jersey. Right? I don't know why they want a big size 20, but and you want to just tell them you really can't because people don't understand something. Karl don't have 300 boxes of 20s. It ain't like he could go in and say, I'll go to Foot Locker tomorrow and get you a size sneaker and stuff. So when he gives a sneaker away, that's a big loss for the team. That's a big loss.
That's right.
But that's rewarding. And you know what? Most of the time they say, yo, we love your son. But the thing that makes me really nice is when they say, and somebody spoke to me today about it. And you know what she said? I just commend you for your strength.
Wow. Because
you seem to be going good. And it was the most rewarding thing I said today. And I'm gonna remember when she said it today. Because it made me feel good to know that people still appreciate the fact that my son is still strong despite everything that happened. And the lady that said it today, you know what? She hit home. And I respect her and I have mad love for her. But I ain't gonna tell her.
Charles, what are some of the things that you feel like are a pet peeve when it comes to people coming to you for your son?
Well, they've been coming since day one. They was a little bit stronger when they first got in the league than they are now. Because that guy that told everybody no then is still that guy that they don't want to see. I always remember when some family members came to me wanting to do certain stuff, and before he even got a check now, this before he even got a check. Want to do restaurant. Somebody wanted me to buy him a car. He ain't got a check now. He ain't even got a check. Just all kind of stuff, and I was like, wow. And it was just eye-opening. I'm like, wow, is this what it's about? Gimme. And I had kinfolk they kinfolk. I give them that respect, but they wasn't a part of the journey. They didn't see all the struggles because Chris always tell the story about I had to get my 401k like we was broke. No, I had to get my 401k because I had 2 kids doing the same thing. That's the only reason I had to go get my 401k. But me and my wife, we had struggles. Both of us worked. Sometimes both of us worked 2 jobs. Just so never wanted to ask anybody for nothing. That was probably the best gift that I had when Chris went pro. Was I didn't have to worry about nobody walking up to my son and saying, hey, I helped your daddy do this. I gave your daddy some money. I did. That was the best feeling in the world, that I knew nobody could walk up to me, my wife, or Chris or CJ and ever say that they gave him nothing. Me and my wife was there for them because we always thought that, hey, if they needed something, not knowing that Chris was ever going to be in the NBA, not knowing that. But, we had our struggles. Chris I had one of my paychecks and I saved it. And Chris like, how in the world did you and mama make it off of that? I said, well, she had a job too. So that's what I'm mostly thankful about. And no matter what people think, they don't remember that my father-in-law passed. He was killed by some teenagers. And Chris scored 61 points, and I was coaching. And he could have scored 62, and he threw the ball out of bounds. So that was 61 points. And I was coaching, and he came over and fell up in my arm. And like Karl said, that's one thing that I don't talk about a lot, especially in public, because I break down because it's so emotional. My wife lost her dad to some teenagers that knew he went home with some money. But Chris talks about that a lot, but he don't talk about it a lot because it's crazy after all this time, because that happened the same year Chris came out. The same year that he was going to college in 2001.
Yeah.
That happened the day after putting his hat on and signing with Wake Forest. All of us was together. Me, my wife, my mom and dad, and my brothers, them, and my wife's dad. All of us was there together. And he took his hat off and put it on Chris' head, not knowing that that was going to be the last time that we interacted with her dad. And then for Chris to go score 61 points, that was something from above, because I never seen that coming. And still to this day, when I watch that, I cry. Like Karl said, you can't even talk about it.
Yeah.
But we've had adversity.
Yeah.
You know, Chris ain't just been this player that just had it straight to. I had him on JV for 2 years because his brother was on varsity his freshman year. And when I went to the coach and told him, I say, he need to go to JV, he looked at me like I cussed him out. I'm like, no. He said he needs to be up here on varsity where he can learn. I say, no, he need to be on JV where he can play. And then the same thing happened to Chris. Everybody wondered, well, Chris was good enough to play varsity. I'm like, no, he gonna play JV. So when he move up from JV, he can do the same thing in varsity. And that's what happened. Yeah. So I've been blessed in many ways, more than finances could ever come close to how I've been blessed.
Yeah. Where did that boldness come from for you guys as fathers to just make those decisions to know, like, now this is what's best for my kid, and letting people know? Because everybody has an idea what somebody else's kid should be doing. But where do your boldness and bravery comes from?
My parents, because I watched my dad work just as hard to provide for us. And I wanted to instill in all my kids that I'm gonna make a decision based on what I think is best for you. Now, if you wanna listen, fine, but the boldness is because if you ain't direct and show your kids that what you're doing is something that's to benefit them, then you're not being a dad. You can't let a young kid, this is my opinion, 16, 17, feel that the decision they made is gonna be rewarding when they don't even understand life themselves. Because most of my kids were sheltered and, had 2-parent households where a decision that was being made was gonna be made by a mom and a dad. So you couldn't say that the decision was gonna be wrong because we both sat down and got the desire to say, this is what we believe you're gonna do. Like he said, he made his son stay on JV. I made my son stay in the books, study every day, read. Homework came first. He would do his homework, then basketball. Even after school, I made the coach have practice at a certain time because the school ended at 2:30. I wanted Karl to have practice 4:30 because he had to do homework. Because what happened was the philosophy was wrong in school, and it's wrong to this day. You can't take a sport, you can't take school and go to practice because tiredness is not a reward. Because kids suffer education-wise. Because you know what the motto of today's kids is? Because I was an educator. That's okay, I'll be all right, I'll do it later. There's no such thing as later, because there's nothing guaranteed. Because I know how my kids were. When they fell asleep, that was it. I'm going to bed. So I needed a space in the middle for my son to do work. So I made the coach have practice, because homework was always a priority. Because I'm gonna sit right here, I never knew that all my kids were gonna be successful, and I never knew I was gonna make a 7-foot kid. That ain't something you say, well, I'm gonna have a 7-foot kid tomorrow. Because I had to make sure that no matter what happened with the sport, education-wise, mind-wise, society-wise, they're gonna be set. So I make it a point for education was a priority. And I always do it on Karl. He'll tell you, continue to pursue your dream, even though you're going through something that is already superior as an NBA basketball career. Because I just don't want him to, or any of my kids to think that just because you got wealth, that you're set. Because a lot of things in life today revolve around, well, I got $1 million, I'm good. Well, if you look at society, $1 million is like 100,000 in life, because by the time taxes hit in society, your friends, your new car, that new home, the friends that you think your friends spend your money got about $8.
Man.
And I don't think people understand how fast your money go downhill.
Yeah.
So I don't want money to ever be a factor in any kids. I want my kids to know that I can be successful as long as I'm educated and my parents are guiding me right. So I'm gonna respect the opinion of my parents.
Charles, where'd you find your boldness?
I probably found my boldness in trusting and believing in God. You know, not going off the path to believe in what somebody else believes, but just growing up under that and then raising my two sons off of that and then watching them grow into it. Like I say, all the stuff that has happened with CJ going to school, Chris going to school, the passing of my father-in-law, how all that happened, and just staying and believing and trusting in God, because I'm sitting here right now.
Amen.
I don't know what's gonna happen when I walk out that door. I'm sitting and smiling and having this nice interview with people and just sitting and relaxing and just enjoying this moment, talking about fatherhood. We used to say when I was coming up, here today, gone tomorrow. Now it's here today, gone today.
Wow.
That's just the world we live in now. But I'm thankful. Whatever God has blessed me with, I'm thankful. The tribulation and trials that I went through, I'm thankful. The kids, the stuff that my kids go through, if I'm there for them, I'm thankful. And everything I always give thanks and praise. Like Karl say, you don't know what life holds for us tomorrow.
Yeah.
But we try to be a part of our kids' life so we can direct them. And I've always let my son know it's never gonna be about the money. I always think about he came home and he say, "Who car is that?" I mean, a new car to me back in the day was a used car was a new car. He say, "Who car is that out there?" I said, "That's mine." When you get that makes me feel good to let them know that I'm not banking nothing on them. I'm still dad. I'm still living my life.
Yeah. How do you guys handle your kids trying to spoil you? Because of course, I mean, you've raised them, you've been there for them.
Oh, I need to get up. My wife need to sit here.
Spoiled.
Or just, you know, I mean,
He may throw me a bone once in a while.
I'll give you an answer that you said that when Chris first got in the league, right? So he know how I am. I get what I like, not what you like. So my wife got a 2006 Chrysler, black. When everybody heard about it, my phone started ringing like crazy. "Oh man, we heard your wife got a new car. What you get?"
wow.
I say, "I can't even believe this." I'm like, "I'm good." I said, "Y'all know how I roll." I still got my 71 truck that I had all these years. If I get something, I'm gonna buy it. Now, he didn't surprise me now. But back then, everybody was like, I'm like, if my wife got, I got.
Yeah.
If my kids got, I got.
Exactly.
Because I don't need the cars they got. Because look, I can't afford the cars they got. I'll drive their cars when I'm in their neighborhood.
I know
I don't
that's
want
right.
that in my driveway.
I know that's right.
Because I got to pay to get it fixed. I ain't trying to do that.
No.
You know what? I know that Karl always says that, get whatever you want. He never tells me no, you know, because I got a credit card. If I want to splurge and get something, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to go out and get food or something. I ain't going to walk into, I ain't going to walk in a Mercedes next week and say, "I'll take that," you know? You know, it's like little things. Because you know what? I'm not materialistic.
Yeah.
I was you know, it's funny, he said that. Somebody asked us a question today. You know, why ain't you guys got all the suits? You know what I told him? I'm in my suit. I am a sweatsuit sneaker guy. That's it. I don't like to wear suits. I don't need to be seen in a suit. And I'm content on just being, this is me.
Yeah.
Because that's their light. They need the lights and all this. I don't need all this. You know, as long as the lights turn on in my house, I'm good.
Yeah.
That's the only lights I need. I don't need that red color. Because you know what? I'm just happy that they got that lifestyle. You know? I don't need everything. I'm telling you, I'm so happy because I'm alive.
Yes.
I get a chance to leave and go to McDonald's.
I can't go there.
You can't go there. That's right.
That's
That's
vegan
me.
journey.
Get chicken sandwich. You know, go there. You know, I'm just saying, it's just the little things that make me happy. I don't need the material things. I don't need the Gucci sneakers, the Louis Vuitton. I don't need none of that. You know, I'm okay with Walmart, Kmart. You know, I'm
Yes, sir,
good.
buddy.
Matter of fact, in my case, I'm happy with big and tall.
Yeah.
Because listen, I just can't walk in. And those are the little things. Because once you lose focus of who you are, that's phony.
Yeah.
Because I come from the projects.
Yeah.
And I know what it's like not to have something, so I know what it's like to appreciate something.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I appreciate? The fact that what I have is good enough.
That's right.
Because, listen, it's not about, and I think that's where a lot of people lose focus, that they believe that you gotta be stylish today. Like, I don't have to be stylish because I ain't trying to impress nobody. Listen, I don't care. Listen, I have to impress one person.
Yeah.
Me.
That's right.
I ain't doing a good job at that. No,
Man, so let's talk about with fathers in the NBA. I know, there's been talk sometimes in the media with certain fathers that, people be like, oh, he's too loud, or he's too this, or he's too that.
Listen, I'm okay. That ain't me. I just know where you're headed with this, and I'm not answering that question. I'm staying away from it.
But
what?
Like
what you saying? Go ahead. I know you want to say it.
No, I'm just saying the persona of NBA fathers.
We'll use that one.
Yeah, we'll use
the
that
persona of NBA fathers. Do you think it's been a myth, or have you encountered some where you just be like, where sometimes you gotta tell the dad, hey man, you might wanna.
That's honest. That is honest right there. But still, they have to make the decision.
Yeah.
Just like me and Karl, we are who we are.
Yeah.
And some dads, they living it through their kids. That's all you can say. I'm not living it through my kid.
Yeah.
I love basketball without going to college and all that. I love basketball, period.
Yeah.
So I had teams in the summer. So now I'm on this stage, I gotta be dad.
Yeah.
I ain't gotta be voicing my opinion or hollering. Yeah, I disagree. I always tell the referees, hey, you got the whistle, but the whistle don't always win. But I ain't gonna be up being arrogant and standing around. That ain't me. Now, there might be some of the younger fathers and stuff like that, but that's not me. But still, at the same point in time, it just still seems like the NBA uses that as an excuse not to elevate or show us as fathers unless we played in the NBA or unless we got a name. Daggone Karl Towns, hey, good man. Some of the fathers, they ain't played no sports or nothing, but they still been for the kids.
That's right.
And that's the misperception, I think, why you still, just until the other year, we've been talking about this ever since we started the organization about what are fathers, Well, guess what? Some of them been there, because my wife had an interview sitting right here, and I'm sitting right here, and they talking to the mom and all that. Ain't nobody even acknowledge me.
Wow.
But that ain't just happened to me, though. This didn't happen to a lot of dads when the mothers was interviewed and the dads are sitting right there beside them and not acknowledged. Wow. I was at a game, I'm gonna tell you this, I was at a game in Dallas when Miami played. This is how much we like basketball. We go to other people's playoffs when Chris don't end the playoffs. So we in Miami and Dallas game, in Dallas. Me and my wife walking down to our seats. This man stopped. Aren't you Chris Paul's mom? She said, yes, sir. He said, you did a great job raising your son. And I'm standing right there.
Wow.
And she said, well, thank you. This is my husband. He said, Mrs. Paul, you did a great job raising your kid. And from that day, that's when it all kicked off. I said, wow, my wife just looked at me and said, you all right? I said, baby, as long as you know I'm good. But that's the perception of us dads, that now we've made it because our sons have made it monetary-wise. That's far beyond the truth, baby.
Yeah. Carl. Go ahead.
I live. You know what? Here's my motto with the whole thing. When I walk into the building, I walk in there knowing that I can't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Because they're not gonna interview me. They're gonna go to my son and say, your dad was out there wilding. No, for real. And the one thing I will never do is have my son put in a situation where he gotta answer a question that pertains to me, because it makes me look bad as a dad that I can't sit there and represent him. So I will sit there and cheer on. I don't care if he throws the ball into the 25th row. Great. That's all right, keep going, right? Because there's no reason for me to make a comment on nothing, because he wouldn't come to my job and embarrass me. So I will not sit there and embarrass him. I always find out, even though on the road, I will go to them and say, where am I sitting? They'll say, you have a floor seat. And what I want to know, is there anybody in the area that I need to deal with? Because I don't want my son to have to. And my son to sit there, and I'll look at him on the bench, and he'll look at me, and it's already you knowing. It's like he said, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know, because I'll just cheer. I will not say nothing. Because here's what people fail to realize. If I say anything out of content, even about my own kid, and somebody hears it, it'll hit Instagram before I get to the locker room. So any comments can't be said. Because honestly, there's no reason for me to comment. I'm there as a dad to support, not just him, but the team. So I will just sit there. And I know there's been incidents, listen, of other fathers, we're not gonna get to it. Yeah, but that ain't my business.
Yeah.
Because I can sit here as a dad, and I know he can sit there as a dad, and you don't hear them saying anything about us.
Yeah.
Because you know what? When I'm in that building, I told you, I'm mom and dad. I'm there for support. You know the best part about the game with me is when I can walk up after the game and say, yo, good job. That's it. Game over.
Yeah.
Let's go home and eat. Because there's nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
Because I'm never gonna criticize my son for his game because he wouldn't be Karl Towns NBA superstar if he wasn't doing what he's supposed to do. There's nothing for me to say. I can't go home and say, okay, dude, no. You know, I'm gonna go home and say, what we eating? That's it. That's the only thing he's gonna hear from me. You know when our best thing is about father and son that I love? I wait for my son to want to talk about it. We don't talk about it, it's a done deal.
Yeah.
That's it. Because I'm not gonna go in the house. He's my son. When basketball game is over, he's my son. That's it. It's nothing to do with anything about basketball. When that game is over and we get in that car, we start driving, we're only thinking about eating. Plus, we're trying to be, listen, we're in Minnesota, we're trying to be warm too. So, you know. But seriously, people, you know, I joke, but I'm serious about that. And I think that's where the concept is lost, that there's so many parents, and this is my opinion, so just on here, I'm gonna say this from fact. You got to remember, basketball is a sport that's entertaining for society. It's not life. Because people take it so serious. It's crazy how much people damage their kids mentally and I'll tell you, people gotta say this mental health thing is real. You gotta just be supportive. And that's why I don't say jack. Jack. For what?
Yeah.
What am I gonna get out of it? Listen, I'm gonna say it to you again. That's why when you asked the question, I started laughing. I'm good.
Straight.
When I go to the game, I'm a father. When I leave the game, I'm a father. That's it. I mean, you know what they should put on my back?
What?
Support. That's what I mean. That's it. Listen, there's nothing. How about this? He's the best player in the world, in my opinion.
There you go.
I don't care if we lose, win, tie, don't make the playoffs, have to draft better players to get better. It's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not talking about you. Did you guys do a trade recently?
No, we didn't.
Oh man, it's getting spicy in here. It's getting spicy. But gentlemen, I just want to say thank you so much. Truly,
appreciate it.
Thank you.
There's a lot that I've gained from this conversation as a new father, as a young father, that I think I could take home and practice immediately. I know the viewers will as well. So I just want to say thank you for who you are as individuals, but also as fathers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for having us.
Appreciate you.
All right, peace.
Yeah.